I think the most influential people in media, I think you'd have to put Rogan at the top of that, kind of don't work for anybody. And
Nope.
And it's just so interesting. If you look at the ads on Margaret Brennan's show, it's like, Nissan, and Joe Rogan, it's like prostate health cures. It's like that. It's the whole, guys like Rogan have become rich, famous, influential, completely outside the conventional structures.
Certainly Rogan.
But all of them. I mean, all of them. Megyn Kelly is enormously influential. I haven't seen her ads, but like...
But she's still corporate backed, right? She's Sirius XM. She was Fox, as you well know. Didn't work for her at NBC, which really wasn't a surprise to anybody in there. It's being a network anchor, being a storyteller, being a host that is accommodative of broad audiences that are looking to be inoffensive.
Yes.
That's a very different skill set that she clearly was going to struggle with. So I wasn't surprised by that. But she's Sirius XM. Now Rogan is Spotify, but he built that all himself.
But you're wondering, though, but still, I mean, Rogan is, in some sense, like bigger than Spotify. He could leave Spotify. I think Megyn could leave.
I was surprised he took the deal.
Right.
I was surprised he took the deal.
It gives him a lot of freedom. But here's my question. You see every kind of mid-sized independent business in America getting scooped up by private equity. So every veterinary practice, every dental office, HVAC places, cemetery associations, like there is this inexorable trend toward like conglomerates.
Yes.
Small independents getting scooped up by some big umbrella group. That's going to happen in media, I would think.
We are presently realizing, so there was that big wave of deals that you and I missed in the podcast space where people were just throwing money to have a footprint in it, right? Rogan was the biggest of those deals, right? But then it went away. And when I got into it, I'm all self-financed because, well, I was damaged goods, but people weren't looking to just throw money at a podcast because no one was making money on those deals. It was like relearning the Howard Stern lesson that they paid him all that money at Sirius XM. And it's like, what was the yield? Now, different people are starting to buy up podcasts that are traditional media companies. And they are the seed capital behind the private equity behind those organizations are starting to buy up these properties again.
See, it freaks me out because the reason independent media are credible is because they're independent.
Yes.
They're not controlled.
Yes. Now, I struggle with that a little bit. That absolutely can be true. And again, Taibbi, Schellenberger, okay?
Yeah.
But I don't dismiss, and Barry Weiss, I don't like leaving her out. Free press is a really cool thing that she's building there. And I like that she's able to do something that I never saw at a news organization before, which is she's decidedly pro-Israel, okay? She's Jewish, and beyond her own cultural and religious affinity, she has an ideological one. And she owns it, and she's out there for it. You may disagree. That's okay. But whereas what the world that you and I grew up in, media-wise, they had all these opinions, but you'd never know it. You know what I mean? You'd have to glean it from what you saw on camera. Nobody ever came out and said it, that we think that this is right. We think this is wrong. Very, very rarely. So what I like about it is I believe that there's space for all of it, okay? When I got into this business 25 years ago, they told me, network news is dead, right? The number one show on television is World News Tonight. So the idea that it's dead, it's not dead. It's just changing, and there's stratification. But I do think there's a challenge afoot. People in every different platform have to reconnect with their constituency. Trust is at an all-time low with every kind of institution. Now, within that is a burden for the media, but also an opportunity. That's why I'm so excited that I may have been in the wrong place at other phases in my career, but I'm in the right place right now because like News Nation is like one pebble on the beach at a time of, hey, everybody's going crazy about this, not us. Tariffs are kind of scary and they can hurt prices, but Trump does this and he's looking to get something done. Let's not microanalyze him saying tariffs like this is definitely going to happen this way forever. And let's see what happens. News Nation, we're allowed to do that. Most outlets have to pick a side. Tariffs, best thing in the world, like Fox News. Tariffs are great. We can't wait. This is going to be great. It's going to unleash the economy. Get rid of the income tax. MSNBC, this is the worst. It's going to crush the economy. You got to have a take. You got to have a side. News Nation is able to harness the independent mentality of there's a plus minus on this, right? And we're going to have to see here, right? There's going to have to be some patience, right? And I love that space. It's harder. It's way harder than saying, I hate Trump or Trump was sent by Jehovah. Those are much easier positions. But I believe in the potential.
Well, honesty is kind of the point. I mean, I think you should be allowed to arrive at whatever conclusion you sincerely arrive at, and you should be able to tell people that that's your job. And if you work at a place where, that you can't say something you believe is true, it's the wrong place for you.
I agree. But look, we're benefiting from the change.
Do you feel that there are things that you, is an unfair question to ask you with the cameras going, but
it's the only kind you ask, Carlson.
I do specialize in that. But do you feel like there are things that you can't say? Like if you came to a conclusion now, and I don't mean about like some individual sex life or like nasty personal attacks, but I mean like a policy position that you came to that you would be like, oh, I probably can't say that.
No, I'm there to say it.
Everybody loves and appreciates first responders. When things go haywire, they're the ones who show up and make you safe, protect you, not just you, but the entire country. Most people agree they're heroes. But what happens if they can't show up? First responders cannot be everywhere all the time. And if there's an emergency, particularly a big emergency, there aren't enough to go around. So you have to be your own first responder. Before an ambulance arrives, before a doctor can help, it is up to you to protect yourself and your family. And if it's a medical emergency, you could be out of luck because you don't have the right medications. Most people do not have the medications they need at home. There's an answer to that. It's called the JACE case. It's a simple but smart solution to a problem most people don't even think about. It's a set of emergency prescriptive medications curated by medical experts. You've got peace of mind knowing that no matter what happens, you are totally prepared. Even if you're a prepared kind of person with stuff stored in your cellar, you probably don't have the right medications. What if there's an infection or any kind of crisis and you don't have access to first responders? You're going to want a JACE case, medications on hand when they matter most. Go to jace.com and use code Tucker at checkout for a discount. Jace, JASE.com, checkout code Tucker. So really, you don't feel like there are any red lines?
My bosses are very worried about you advancing agendas that you don't disclose. Now,
me or one?
Me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, if you come to News Nation, then yes, you too. But right now it's, hey, look, if you feel that way, you better say it. Don't just stack your show with guests that are all on one side of something.
Oh, I love that.
And then pretend you're fair.
So
don't do that. Yeah. Be transparent.
The same thing.
Be transparent. And you may be wrong, right? That happens often. But own it, correct it, move on. Do not hide the ball.
They really say that?
100%. Because also remember...
Well, I admire that. I'll just say I admire that.
News Nation is owned by a company that really knows local TV, right? They own the most local TV stations. What has the most currency in media still? Visual media, local news. The boss of me directly, I have like 10 bosses, starting with Dusty on up, but Mike Korn is an ABC News pro who did every job. So he's not a corporate guy. He was in the field. He knows how to edit. He was in the control room. He was, he did all the jobs. He's written the pieces. So he knows the alchemy of journalism. So he understands when someone's faking the funk and what's transparent versus what is trickery. So they've got a good setup there for it. However, I'm still a Cuomo, and it was really important to me when Andrew decided he was going to run that I had to go to them and say, I work for you. What do you want me to do on this? Do you want me to, I offered, do you want me to take a leave for the pendency of the campaign? I'm not running the campaign. I'm not part of the campaign. That's not going to happen. But if you think, having lived through this before, I don't want to hurt News Nation. What you're doing is so important, way more important than me. Do you want that? Now, obviously, they said no. You're being silly and traumatized, yeah, but that was helpful also.
So can Andrew win?
Can he win?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I should say I know Eric Adams, and I like
Eric Adams can win.
I am highly distressed by how dirty and chaotic and dangerous New York is. I'm really, really bothered. I almost don't even care about the ideology. I don't care what rent control debates or tax. I I just want to be safe walking down the street.
I get it.
And he doesn't seem to have been able to do that.
Well, let's defend Eric Adams, shall we?
I have. I'd like to hear you do it.
And so have I. Why? Your brother's running against him. That's not what my family is about. If Andrew is the better choice for the voters in the primary, then he'll win. If he isn't, then he'll lose. And you sign up for that when you decide to get into it. Do I want him to win? Of course. He's my brother. I don't even vote in New York City. So it's this is a family thing for me. But all you got to do is Google it. I believe the indictment against Eric Adams was weak sauce.
Yeah.
And yes, I heard much, much later that they had more. They never put it out. An indictment is already just probable cause. It's the lowest layer of a prosecutorial instrument.
It's totally immoral for the government at any level to impugn your character without charging you. If you have the evidence, charge me.
And they charged him, but they should have brought out whatever they said they had.
What they said is everyone looked at the indictment and was like, wait, you accepted airline upgrades? Yeah. And by the way, every member of Congress does that all the time.
I believed it was weak sauce. Now, other people disagreed with me. That's fine. But I didn't know my brother was doing anything politically when I started my coverage of Mayor Adams. And I believe Trump's deal with him is not fair to Eric Adams. Should have pardoned him or dismissed the charges with prejudice, meaning you can't bring him again. Because think about it, Tucker, if I have that deal with you, is right now you're fine. You do what you want to do. But we're going to reassess after this event in the future. That means everything to you. And then we'll see if I'm going to prosecute you.
It does seem a little like a leash.
And I don't think it's fair. So, your criticism, your analysis of, hey, I think he should have been doing other things. My take on that is, okay, and the voters will decide that. But the guy has the biggest gorilla in the world staring at him like he's food, and he's supposed to focus on his job.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.